County Commissioners meeting. Today is July the 23rd of 2025. Time is 9 a.m. And with that being said, I'm going to call on Pastor Dave Connolly to lead us in our invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Lord, truly you are in this place. We give you all the praise, all the glory, Lord, and all the honor. Father, I just hold up this group to you, Lord, these men, Lord, and these women, Lord, that you have handpicked, Lord, to lead this area, lead this nation. Lord, I just ask your blessing and your anointing upon each and every one, Lord. Father, you said you guard the hearts, you turn the hearts in the direction that we should go. So, Lord, I just pray that you anoint each and every one of them, Lord, with your direction, your guidance, and your blessing. Lord, we give you all the praise and all the glory, and we thank you, Lord, for your great blessings upon this nation. In Jesus' name we pray, Father. Amen. I pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you. All right, so we call this meeting to order. The first item up here is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Roll call.
All right, roll call. I'm getting ahead of myself. Slow down.
Commissioner Schroeder? Here. Commissioner Buck? Here. Commissioner McDaniel?
Here. All right, I'll put the brakes on. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All approved with a sign of aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item is D, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All sign of aye.
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 Motion carries. Next item here on the agenda is the Board of Health. And so the next phase of this meeting, I would accept a motion to convene as the Board of Health.
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to convene as the Board of Health.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. All right, Board of Health.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Sarah McIntosh, and I am the Director of Elbert County Public Health. Give me just a second here while I get my slides to show started. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the second quarter of 2025 update for the Public Health Department here in Elbert County. Today I'm going to cover current staffing, program updates, including clinic updates, the environmental health program updates, vital records and health promotions, as well as some ongoing concerns that we're addressing, and then kind of wrap it up after that. Currently, we have 4 full-time staff, myself as the Public Health Director. Our environmental health specialist is Marissa Ginger, who does all of our OWTS inspections, all of our retail food inspections, and all of our child care inspections. Lisa Helseth is our health educator, and then our front desk administrative assistant is Iris Sloshing. We do have 2 part-time staff. We have 2 nurse practitioners. Lori Coring is our pediatric nurse practitioner that's with us 1 day a week, and Dawn Newbury is our family nurse practitioner who's with us 2 days a week. So Lori is there on Mondays, and Dawn is there on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We currently have contracted with us, Dr. Couch is our medical director, and he is actually contracted with us annually for 15 hours as a consult kind of position. We are also contracted with Teresa Klaus, who was previously our finance specialist for public health, but now has transitioned to full-time with human services, and we take approximately 10% of her time and her workload with human services for us. And then the last position we are looking at is a medical biller and coder contract that we are looking to set up, because the clinic revenue that we are losing because we don't have time to work with the insurance companies is substantial. And so that is going to come from the funding that we saved in our transition of Teresa. So we have repurposed grant money that we would have to give back to the state if we don't spend it on that, to fill that position for now. And if that proves something that's feasible for us, we would probably look at making that a part-time position with us as well. And we also have 2 per diem staff that help cover, because since Marissa is our only environmental health specialist, those cover her when she's on vacation or if she's sick to help with inspections so we don't get behind. Clinic updates for the year. We are in fair season, so we are preparing for a health fair again this year at the county fair. So we are going to actually hold that in the public health building since it's on the fairgrounds, so people can come stop by and visit us while they're out doing their events with their kiddos. We are offering sports physicals for $25, or we can bill insurance if people would prefer that. And we are partnering with NAIA Care, which is a maternal and child health care program that's putting out a program that we're going to partner with to offer maternal and child health care to this community at a reduced cost. And we are working on keeping that low cost by partnering with the med students at Rocky Vista University. So they are going to help us with the sports physicals to get people in and out quickly that day. We do ask if people have time to check our website before coming, that they pull up our CHASA form. The CHASA form is pretty lengthy. There's 4 pages, and there's a large portion that families have to fill out themselves. That will help expedite their trip through if they can fill that out and bring that in when they come. Or if their school has a specific form that they would prefer that they use. In addition to the sports physicals for kids, we are also offering adult screenings as well. So you can, it's kind of small and hard to see. So there's some free screenings that we're offering for anybody that wants to just stop by and see us, but we are also offering, like 9 Health Fair used to do, a lab work panel. So for $40, we can do a basic lab work panel and a prostate, or a PSA prostate specific antigen if you want that as well. So those are up there. And since we will be open and the only building on the fairgrounds that has air conditioning, we are also going to present as a cooling center. So if it's a super hot day on the 2nd, please stop by, get some popsicles, some water, cool down for a little bit.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any thoughts on a blood drive in addition to everything you're already doing?
A blood drive?
Can you do a blood drive and try to draw people in from the fair while they're there? It's close by. It might be a good.
We could. We partner with Vitalant already, and we just hosted one a couple weeks ago. So we host them weekly, but maybe for next year we can put that on and see if we can do that. The hard part about fair time is they don't like to take blood if people are out drinking, and especially on a hot day like that, you do run into a risk that people could pass out after they donate too. So
Gotcha.
we'll definitely put that up there for them and see if they'd be interested, because I know they're happy to come out, especially if they have the potential of getting more donations. This slide talks a little bit about our clinic revenue. And I was going to say, we are right on track. Sorry, I'm going to pull up. Why is it not? Okay. We are going to pull, we're right on track for matching where we were last year, or superseding it just a little bit. And hopefully with a medical biller or coder, that number will jump once we're able to get that contract up and running. So last year we totaled out at a profit from the clinic at about $31,000, and we are at $17,790 already so far this year. And with our visits increasing as well. So in this slide, you can see where I kind of separated out so that it's not so much data. I tried to compare what you see so far this year and then where we were at this quarter last year. So this quarter, this year, we brought in 9,000, and this quarter last year, it was only 4,500. So we are continuing to grow. And as you can see that in our visits that we're seeing per month. So obviously we have kind of a lull in the spring. When school gets out, cold and flu season is down, we don't see as many people come through. We kind of get a rush in the summer, especially with sports physical time and kiddos prepping for the new year. And then through the fall season, we stay pretty busy. Now onto our environmental health slides. So this first slide here talks about retail food license revenue that we get from the state. Very typically, most restaurants that are established, we are very heavy in our revenue that we get from that first quarter because everybody renews and all that, so you see that reflect heavily. Then we get kind of another bump in second quarter with our food trucks that are seasonal. But I anticipate not a whole lot more revenue for the rest of the year. Just to clarify for anybody new to looking at these slides, if you look back at the data from 2020 through 2022, actually 2020 and 2021, it looks a little bit skewed in those years because we weren't counting the deposits. We were counting them when they came in and not what year they were for. So we changed that process in 2022. So next on with environmental health is going to be our OWTS permits that are issued, and that's on-site water treatment systems, so that's your septic systems. And that's going to cover any new systems, any repairs to existing systems, and the use permits are what have to be obtained when you're selling a property. So those are superseding what we did last year. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more generated revenue with that. We are on track to at least match what we had last year. OWTS inspections, and this shows kind of a month by month breakout of where those fall, and we are again on track to supersede where we were last year. We were already at 110 for the year, and we only had 189 last year total. And then this is the revenue that's brought in by our OWTS program. So we are at 86,000 already this year. We had a couple of high years, and actually I know it's surprising, but during COVID, when people were home, we were seeing more repairs happening at that point. We did have kind of a drift the last couple of years, but we're hoping to stay at least at that 134,000 or more. But we do tend to see that's heavier in the summer, and it starts to slow down in the winter. We talked last Board of Health meeting about OWTS Regulation 43 and some of the changes that are coming down from the state with that. So all of the state-approved regulations have been implemented, and we have till next June 15th, to implement those. However, there are additional regulations, like we talked about, that we can choose to opt into as a county if we want to hold our installers to, for making sure that those systems are meeting the standards that we expect. So we will be setting up a meeting with you guys probably in August to address what some of those are, see which ones we as a county would like to adopt and which ones we would like to choose to opt out of. And if you have any questions about those prior to, I will have Marissa get something over to you guys so you can review it and we can make sure to address any concerns you have. Also, we addressed at the last Board of Health meeting, and Dallas, you had asked at doing a permit fee increase for our OWTS permits. I can go a little bit more into it, but basically we have not increased our fees since 2013. We have a very archaic system. We keep track of everything on spreadsheets. None of it's public facing, and we'd like to make it easier for our staff to work with and easier for the public to have access to. So that is where these fee increases will help us build. Based on the numbers that we had from last year, it would bring in additional $8,000 in revenue. And it would cost probably about $4,000 for the system itself and a little bit more to help expedite bringing the records in. For example, all of our records drawings are on spreadsheets, and some of them that are older are on different spreadsheets. So you're checking in 2 to 3 places to find record drawings. So if we could use some of that to help someone migrate that information into the new system, that would be helpful. Currently, we are working with the building department and community core so that hopefully it will be in one system for the countywide, so we're not picking a different system than somebody else has, but we haven't 100% decided on if we need to add something in for functionality beyond what community core can give us. For those, I did bring with me, since we presented it last time, if you guys have any questions on this before I move on, let me know, but I did bring forward a resolution if you guys are comfortable, if that's something that you guys would approve for today. If not, we can readdress next time. Vital records update for the year. So we reopened our vital records services, which is printing birth certificates and death certificates for the community. We started in 2022, and we've been steadily growing until last year, and this year we've kind of stagnated. So that typically brings in, let me skip to the next slide for you, about $4,000 to $5,000 a year in revenue for us, just in offering that service to the community. This year we are a little bit lower than where we were last year, but it can kind of ebb and flow based on the year and people's needs. As far as health promotions, we are partnering with the Colorado National Collaborative. We are part of Region 5, which includes Cheyenne, Elbert, Kit Carson, and Lincoln counties. So this is a project that's designed to reduce suicide deaths in the communities and non-fatal suicide attempts amongst Coloradans, as well as helping to provide support for families of victims. The core package was rolled out. They're working to kind of wrap that up this fall to support survivor groups, fatality analysis retroactively to see where we could have had opportunities to help stop those events from happening, and support for families when it does. The Colorado National Collaborative does have outreach events, and they were actually present at Elbert Days and plan to join us as well at the health fair coming up on the 2nd. So they will be with us as well to help for emotional support. Some of the events we've taken place in, we were at Elizabeth on the 7th of June. And like I said earlier, we're planning to be at the county fair on Saturday the 2nd. And then we will also be at Elizabeth at the 5K fun run with a booth there. As you talked about earlier, Mike, we do host blood drives. So they are here at the fairgrounds. They're in the Ag building. We just hosted one on the 9th of July. They do take walk-ins, but if you do schedule an appointment, it gets you through the process a little bit faster. And our next one is on the 8th of October. So if you look at our numbers, we were hoping to get about 24 people in and 24 units donated, but we are falling a little bit below that mark, which is why they're hesitant to bump up and come more often. So if we get more donors, they will bump up those numbers and maybe come out an additional time a year so that we can get people out and donating more often. But definitely thank you for those who donated with us. So this time we did have 15 scheduled. All 15 were able to donate. 4 of them were brand new to us this time. And even though we only had 15 donors, we were able to achieve 16 units, because one of the things that Vitalant has the ability to do is what they call a power red donation. And they essentially take 2 units and then give you some fluid back so that you feel better when you're done. So in one sitting, they can take 2 donations instead of just 1. But we are pretty stable with where our numbers are there. And so a lot of our donors are regular, and thanks to everybody who comes and donates with us. A couple of the ongoing healthcare concerns that we've been following up on. First, there's been some concerns over water outages and boil water notices at one of the subdivisions. So Overland Estates is one of those. So as of right now, they are back up and running. Part of the issue with that system is they have a very old system that's starting to fail. It's having multiple points of failure. They have 2 pumps that run to serve that community. One of them had a lightning strike and took it out. And so then what happened is when that piece broke and they had their repair, they lost pressure and ended up having to issue a boil water notice. This is happening a fair amount in that community, and so we're working with both the community and the owner of that water district to help see what we can do to help support them. The part that they needed to order for the second pump that was down should be in the next couple weeks now, because it's been about 4 weeks, and they were estimating 5 to 6 before they got that part back to get it up and running. One of the other concerns we've been working with is there have been some complaints and concerns from some of the residents down in Matheson regarding a biosolids storage site. So biosolids, just to touch on it really quickly, is processed human waste from wastewater districts that farmers can opt to apply into their soils to amend in and add extra nutrients into those soils. We have one location in Matheson, just south of 24, where they're actually storing dried biosolid material while it waits to be applied. So we have contracted with Ramey Environmental, who is an environmental specialist, going to tell us whether or not everything that's being done down there is up to code and EPA standards. That we did a week and a half ago, and I have yet to see the report back from him. So once we get that report, I will be back in touch with you. But we did meet on site with both the owner of the storage site as well as the general manager of the biosolids company, and then the neighbors that put in the concerns for us. Second, thank you to you guys. I know you guys have been working hard on doing your Board of Health training plans. I have a couple that are done, and I know a couple of you guys were working on them. So please don't hesitate, reach out to me if you have any issues. I'll schedule some time to come by, make sure we get you set up to finish those if you have not done those. Last, just a reminder, if anybody does have additional public health concerns, if you have a concern regarding an infectious disease, please reach out to us directly and we can help walk you through that. And if you have an environmental health concern, please report it through the report a concern line at the, on the website, which is listed there as well. Or you can call us directly if it's something that you would like to report anonymously. Please note that the report a concern does not have an anonymous feature. So if you do report a concern there, we wouldn't have the ability to keep that anonymous. But again, any concerns, please feel free to send them our way. And then there is our contact information and my email as well. Any questions?
I just have a comment. Thank you for all the work that you've been doing with this situation down in Matheson. There's been a heavy lift, and thank you for that. Also out at the at the Overland Estates out there. I know we've got some critical issues out there. Thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
No, Sarah, you and your staff do a really good job, so we really appreciate it. Do have a couple questions, though. Comment also, I think the cooling center over the fair is a great idea. Expose your department to more folks, but also if it is a hot day, it's going to be something that's needed. So good idea. Appreciate that. Maybe I'll have to come see you around 2 o'clock. I don't know. The questions I have is about the permit fee changes.
Yep.
What kind of an effective date would you be looking at with that?
We were looking at August 1st.
And are these fee changes comparable then to surrounding counties?
Yes, actually, even with the fee changes, we're still low compared to what surrounding counties are at. I don't have it with me today, but it is in the last presentation with the Board of Health slides with where that falls, where we fall, where we were, and then where we would increase to.
Okay, very good. I'm not objecting to the resolution, but I would like to see it on our next meeting so we can have it out in the public face for a period of time for full transparency, and so that there's no surprises out there, and that we have it out there. So
Absolutely.
that would be my preference. Of course, we've got two other gentlemen here who might have a different idea, but thank you for your work on that.
Absolutely. If that's something that you would like, let me know. We can obviously push back the effective date on that if need be.
I would agree with Commissioner Schroeder. I think it would be better for full transparency, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
No questions. Thank you. Good job.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, entertain a motion to close the Board of Health meeting and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners meeting.
Mr. Chair, I move we close the Board of Health meeting and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item on our Board of County Commissioners meeting is the elected officials, department heads, and staff reports. I'll start with elected officials. Are there any elected officials who would like to give any kind of a report today? Good morning.
Good morning, all. Sherry Hewlett, County Treasurer and Public Trustee. Since my second quarter Public Trustee report was on the consent agenda, I just wanted to give you a brief update on what I'm seeing in the Public Trustee's office. This year, I'm seeing more properties go to sale than I did last year. As far as new foreclosures are concerned, we're 2 ahead of what we were this time last year, so that's not a big increase. I am a little concerned and disappointed with the number of sales that we're having. It seemed last year we had more files withdrawn than what went to sale. So what that tells me basically is property owners aren't able to cure what they're behind on, and so the banks or mortgage companies are taking these properties to sale. So that's unfortunate. But having said that, the releases that we get, release of deeds of trust for refinances or people pay off their homes, those are staying steady. So, but anyway, I just wanted to update you all on what I'm seeing in the Public Trustee's office, and seems like we're having a sale about every week. We didn't have one this week, thank goodness, but we had, 2 last week? So my report is pretty standard, nothing unusual there as far as what I'm transferring in excess funds. That's pretty stable. As you can see at the bottom of the report, I have numbers for 2024 versus 2025. We had 10 new foreclosures this time, first quarter of 2024 versus 7 in this second quarter. And you can, here again with the sales, we had 5 in the second quarter and none in the second quarter of 2024. So we've already deeded 4 in the second quarter where we didn't deed any. Obviously, if they don't go to sale, then they don't get deeded. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there and let you know that we're seeing more sales this time than we have last year. And as far as the Treasurer's Office is concerned, I just wanted to let the citizens know that we have a new feature. I don't know if you remember during the legislative session that there was a bill, it was 25-1199, which the state wanted the county treasurers to offer monthly payments for our citizens. Not that that's a bad idea. We understand and realize that taxes are high and people are struggling to come up with a lump sum. We understood all of that. However, for us, they wanted to extend the monthly payments through September. Well, we have certain other statutory deadlines we have to meet. For instance, we have the tax lien sale in November. We have to start advertising in October. So when does it cut off? Basically was our question to legislators. So that fortunately was postponed or indefinitely. And what we came up with as treasurers, we use a company called Auto Agent, and they are a tax servicing company along with other services. Like a lot of our county departments utilize them for online payments. So we've come up, they were able to provide us a service. It's called escrow taxes. So those folks that do not have an escrow through their bank or mortgage company can sign up for this feature, for this program, and then they can make monthly payments based on what their property taxes were last year. They'll kind of estimate they'll do a 3% increase and estimate what the taxes they believe will be for 2025 to 2026. Once they get the exact numbers from me, from the tax roll file, then they can make an adjustment on what that monthly payment would look like. It's very easy to complete the application. It's not really an application. You just search for your parcel number and fill out the information that they ask, and then they will determine what your monthly payment will be. It's similar to if citizens paid their taxes online with a debit or credit card. It's if you use an e-check or ACH, it's a $1 fee per transaction, or 2.5% if you use your debit or credit card. So it's a minimal fee. They collect these payments monthly by the 15th of each month. At the end of the year, Auto Agent will make sure that the treasurer receives those payments timely before the due dates, whether it be first half, second half, or full. So we'll get those payments from them on those due dates. Anything that's left over in that escrow account will be either refunded to the citizen or the taxpayer, or they can simply just move that forward to the next year if they continue to use this service. So I have all of this information on my website. We have flyers in the office. I have frequently asked questions if they would like to, know some more information on that. But I think this is a great way to service our taxpayers that want to put, I've always told our taxpayers, well, why, if you can't afford it all in one big lump sum, just put it in a savings account, earn interest, and then pay us when you get the money. Well, that's, I guess, easier said than done. If you, I'll put more in next month or whatever. So, right, something comes up, exactly. So this, once you make the payment, it stays there, and then this company makes sure that we get paid, and it makes it easier on the citizens. So they're a great company to work with. Their support is tremendous. Like I said, a lot of the departments in our county use this company for online payments, and I think it's been a great tool, streamlined. So I think this will be really good for our taxpayers if they elect to do this. Again, give us a call. The information's out there. It's already on my website. You just click on the link. It's escrowtaxes.com. Click on the link. It'll take you right there, and you can add as many parcels as you want. We also have a feature. A lot of taxpayers are not sure if they have a mortgage company or an escrow account. And there's a feature there as well that will let them know, oh yes, PNC Mortgage Pager is currently paying your taxes. So that's out there as well. So do you have any questions for me? I think it's really going to be beneficial, and as much as we can keep the state out of our, telling us how to do our jobs, the better off we are. So
Right.
they didn't realize and don't understand how much extra work it takes to monitor monthly payments in our offices. We get enough mail as it is once we send out the tax bills, so it's a lot, especially in February. So I think this is a great alternative to legislators trying to tell us what to do. So anyway.
Any questions?
Real quick, is there a fee to use that escrow service, escrowtexas.com? Is there any type of fee?
Just the $1, like I stated earlier, for, it's $1 for if you use an e-check or ACH, or it's 2.5% if you use a debit or credit card. Now keep in mind, if you put in the wrong account number and the wrong routing number, you're going to have a problem. So make sure, when you sign up that you're putting in the correct information. If that should happen, there are ways to correct that, and the taxpayers would be notified that there was a problem, and there'll be a remedy for it. So
there's really no fee for the service. It's just a processing fee for the payment.
pretty much.
That's a great deal. I think it's a good program.
Yeah, I do too. So I hope a lot of our citizens sign up for it, and if it works for them, that's great.
Are you hearing anything from your Treasurers Association that this is going to mollify the legislature and not try and come back again for another bite at the apple at making you do more work?
Yeah, we've put this out to the legislator Senator Hansen was the one initially that brought this forward, and I can't remember the new senator that was trying to push it through again, but yeah, she's aware of it, and the legislators are aware that this is going through, and that there's really no need for.
No need for it, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I know you'll keep us appraised, but as we get closer to session, if
yeah, I'll let
it
you
looks
know.
like they're reviving something that's bad, let us know.
Right, will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other elected officials?
Morning, Commissioners. Rhonda Braun, Clerk and Recorder. I have updates for all my departments this morning and haven't been here for a couple of meetings, so thought I'd get you up to date. Going forward, meeting minutes are going to be looking a little bit different, so just wanted to let people know about that. In consulting with the attorney, and in order to comply with Robert's Rules of Order, meeting minutes will be presented as action minutes. Those minutes, Robert's Rule states that minutes should generally include only what was done, not what was said. So those will look a little bit different. It'll be easier to get them out quicker, and it'll be better for everybody. And if you're not able to attend the meetings in person, the meeting videos are available on our website. So if you want the whole enchilada and figure out what everybody said, you can catch that. There'll also be a notice on the bottom of the minutes just to let the public know if they're reading those and they want more information. There will be a link to go to that video on the website so they can always catch all of the information. In our recording department, beginning July 1st, there is a flat fee for recording documents regardless of the pages, so we don't charge per page anymore. And there's a few exceptions, but we are looking at, we're not sure, it's only been going for a few weeks, whether we're going to be ahead on revenue with that, or it's a little bit across the board with the other clerks that we've talked to. So far, they're a little bit ahead, but we'll let you know how that works. We've also upped our game online, so we're super excited about that. We did get a grant, and we've got most all of it implemented. Our search site is up and running, so citizens can search for documents. They can download, they can print a watermarked copy of any of the recorded documents online, and they can purchase a clean copy, they can purchase certified copies. It's already helped our staff out, So citizens, it's a convenience for our citizens. It saves our staff time because the citizens can get what they need by themselves online. They can also complete marriage applications. So both parties still have to appear in person with a valid ID to complete that application, but you can fill everything out and get it paid for online before you come in. Citizens can also sign up for Fraud Alert, and that way if anybody files something on your property, you'll get a notification right away. So that's a great service for our citizens. There is no charge for that. So go online to our site and you can get signed up for that. Our imaging project that was started by Dallas lots and lots of years ago, that was supposed to be an 18-month project, is 99.9% complete, which means all of our recorded documents are now digital and can be searched online. So we have a few more that need to be indexed and working on that, but we're super excited to be able to say that is done. We've been dealing with that for a really long time, and that was also a grant from the ERTB, the Electronic Recording and Technology Board, with the state. So their goal was to get all of the documents for this state digital, and to try to be the first state to do that. So they're getting there. Our Motor V, our kiosk, is up and running, very successful at the Safeway in Elizabeth. And our citizens can also use any kiosk in the state. It's a great option if you need to renew your tags. And so we're super excited about that. And a lot of citizens use the online option anyway to renew, but if you need it right away, you can use a kiosk. In elections, we have received our voting equipment from ClearBallot. Now we're just waiting for the state to come and do their trusted build, their certification. And so as soon as they come in and do that certification, we can do our training and figure out how to use it just in time to run an election. So right now we are working with all the districts that are thinking they want to put something on the ballot. The deadline to let us know is the end of this month, but it's a soft deadline. So they will be letting us know. For example, school districts are required to coordinate with us if they have a school district election, and they don't know yet. So we're working with all the school districts, getting all the paperwork in place. So if they have more candidates than they have seats open, they will be on the ballot. If they don't, they cancel that. So no harm, no foul, and that works. So the end of August, beginning of September is our ballot certification date. And after that, that's a hard deadline. Then it's a race to get everything completed and out to our military and overseas folks. So do you have any questions? That was a lot.
Great job.
Yeah, real quick. So
Yes.
soft deadline, end of July, hard deadline, end of August. Any particular date?
I don't have that right off the top of my head. I think I don't have it. It is 60 days before the election. So it's right around Labor Day is ballot certification official date. And I can get that date for you. And I'm sorry I didn't.
No, I was just
Didn't write that down, but yeah, it's 60 days before, and then we have 15 days to get everything on the ballot, proofed, ready, and out to our military and overseas folks. So that's 45 days before the election.
What are some of the costs for a special election or to put something on the ballot? I know I talked to you maybe 6 months ago, and you gave me some general ideas and different things. Do you have any?
I will have to get that to you. There's a lot of factors. It depends on how many districts are coordinating, and then we split that cost. The state also gives us a reimbursement, and they have changed. It used to be a per voter reimbursement, and now it is it's a 45% of costs, so that they're hoping that that will go with inflation. So there are a lot of different factors, and I can get what we paid to put it on last year, our share of the cost. But, yeah, I don't have that number right off the top of my head.
No problem. And I had asked you, I think it was 6 months to 9 months ago, and that's kind of what you had said. You had said it was depending on how many, multiple factors, and it depended on how many things were going on to the ballot and different things. So it was kind of the same answer, so I
Yep,
just wanted
and
to
there are
make sure.
some pass-through costs for different districts, so if you put a tax question on the ballot, that would be, and we send out the Tabor notices, those are just pass-through costs, so there's just different things that factor in, those aren't split.
Question on the recording, with the digitizing the records, the 99% done, does that include the indexing?
It does, they came back to us and said, well, you didn't let us know about these. And so we're looking to see what they have not indexed, because they said, we're done, but, oh yeah, we didn't know about these. And I'm like, I don't know how they knew about those to let us know about those. So we're looking into that and trying to figure out maybe what they haven't indexed.
But a lot of it has been done.
Almost, yeah, U.S. Imaging thought it was complete. So it's getting there, it's almost all done, so.
Perfect.
And thank you for getting that started and getting those grants.
Thank you for the report. That's great.
That was great, thank
Thank
you.
you. Any other elected officials here? Like to give a report? All right, seeing none. Any department heads here today that would like to give a report? Jennifer?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Jones, Community and Development Services. I have a few exciting updates for you all about the comprehensive plan. So I wanted to give you a preview of the website that's been created. It has not gone live yet, but hopefully we'll go live following this meeting. It's ready to go. So you'll see there is a logo specifically for the comp plan. I just wanted to kind of quickly go over a little bit of what's included. There's an option for folks to sign up so that they can be notified of different things that are going on with that so that they can stay up to date. It does talk about what is the comp plan and preparing that vision. It has some information about community engagement. That's obviously the heart of the plan, is we want to hear from the community what they're looking for, what the future of Elbert County looks like. And in order to gain a lot of that information, we are doing a survey. All of you worked on that survey. It is also ready to go. There will actually be a box that pops up right when you go to this website to allow you to do the survey. There's also an option down at the bottom. And we'll also have paper copies available here and at a few different locations. You'll see that flyer, this flyer at a few places. There's also a QR code, really trying to have a lot of options for folks to be able to go and answer the questions on that survey. It's 25 questions. Like I said, prepared mainly by you all, right? Trying to get at all the different types of information that we're looking to gather. There's that button to take the survey, so we encourage everyone in the county to do that, to tell us what they think. And then there's just a few other things here at the bottom of the website, some frequently asked questions, some links, and again, a way to get a hold of us. A huge thank you to our consultants, Kimley Horn. They've been very helpful in helping us prepare all this. A big thank you to Wendy and her team working to get the survey ready to go, making sure that all looks right with an advertising piece as well. So I just wanted to let you all know about that. It's my intent to provide updates on the comp plan at almost every meeting that you have, just to let you know where it is, let the citizens know what's happening. We do have a steering committee formed, right? You all let us know about all those folks to participate in that. They've been contacted by myself, by the consultants, and their first meeting will actually be next week. So at your next meeting, I'd be happy to give you an update on the steering committee and what's being done, how the survey's going, and that type of thing. So if you all will help and let people know, please fill out the survey. That is the best way for us to get information to hear from the citizens. We'll also be at several community events, including the fair, and so we hope to get a lot of feedback there, let people know about what's going on, how to get there, how to be in contact with us. And then later in the fall, we'll also have some open houses, and so I'll be sure and keep you all updated with those.
That's great.
Any questions?
Comments? Good job.
Great.
But I do have a question. Have all the steering committee members been contacted and responded?
They've all been contacted. There was one member who, it took us a little while to get his information. He has been, we've reached out to him. I don't know if we've heard back from him yet, but we'll continue to do that, to reach out and try to make sure. Everyone else has been contacted, yes.
And then just clarification, when someone does a survey, how do we make sure that someone doesn't take that survey multiple times? How is that process safeguarded, if you will, or quality control for those surveys?
Sure. So there are a few things in place, and our consultants are managing that. For all of the surveys that are taken online, which is where we hope most of them are, they do have a way of tracking that, where the IP address was and things like that. They can also compare the answers, right? And so if a couple people in the house did it, that's fine. They can kind of tell that if they have some different answers. If it's exactly the same repeated 75 times from one address, they have a way to tell that and to, kick some of those out and reduce that back down to one. They'll also be helping us track where those come from. So it's our goal to try the best we can to have a wide range of responses from across the county. So we can track that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
No, great job. I appreciate it. And just encourage us to get the word out as much as we can to everybody. It'd be great if we had all 27,000 people respond.
Absolutely.
We probably won't, but it'd be good to have everybody. And Commissioner Buck stole my question on how do we have quality control, so I appreciate that answer, but thank you very much.
Absolutely. And I'll be working with a few other folks here, county staff and others, to have copies available, like I said, of this poster that gives people a QR code, the website. The website's pretty easy. It's going to be elbertcountymcomprehensiveplan.com. Again, it is not live yet. This is a preview, but it will be, like I said, right after this if we're all okay and ready to get that going. I know it's been a long time coming. Again, sometimes the road is long, right, to get there going, but I'm happy to report that we're ready to go.
One more quick question, sorry. Can you talk just real quick about all the methods of distribution for that survey? Because I think we're going to put it in the newspaper as well with a link. Can you just real touch on, you're going to be doing it this, and that's how we're going to distribute that?
Absolutely. So you'll be able to get to it from the county website. It'll have its own website. We will have, it will be in a couple of different newspapers. Wendy can fill us in on exactly which ones, the Prairie Times, I know, and I think maybe others. We will have, like I said, flyers around so that people can use their phone and simply use the QR code to get there. So those will be in a couple different spots in the county, other county buildings, libraries, and things like that. And then, yes, sir?
And the fair, you said, didn't you
Yes, we're
say
going to be
on
at the
slide you said
fair.
you'd be at the fair?
We're also going to be at Simla Days. And then we do have a backup if we need it for other places that we can go. And then we'll also have those open houses. The open houses in the fall will help us report back on the responses from the surveys. Yes, and hopefully word of mouth is pretty powerful around here. And so we'll certainly let people know that way. And I'll work with Wendy to make sure that our social media reflects ways to get to the survey as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other department heads present today would like to give a report? Monty?
Good morning, Commissioners. Monty Hankins, Elbert County Public Works Director. I wanted to give you an update on a couple projects that we have going in Road and Bridge, of several that we actually have going, but I'll just touch on two. The County Road 166 repave Phase 2 that goes from County Road 13 to County Road 29. Schmidt Construction was awarded that bid. That project began on July 7th. They have 120 days to complete. They are ahead of schedule. The road has been milled out 2 inches they've actually been working from east to west, so from 29 towards 13. The road has been milled out from County Road 21 to County Road 29. The far east half mile up to the intersection of 29-166 had to be milled, the asphalt completely out, and some subgrade mitigation done, as we did some coring samples prior to the job starting, and the subgrade was not of standard. So we had to do a little bit of mitigation there. They have paved back a lift to match up to the 2-inch mill out of the rest of the road. So that end is paved back and back in good condition. I want to thank the public for being patient during this process, because that end was rather difficult in navigating and traffic control due to all the equipment that was associated with the mitigation. This Friday, Schmidt will be closing 166, and this has been put out by our public information officers, and we also have it on our portion of the county website under the Road and Bridge tab. But anyway, from Friday to Sunday, 166 will be closed from 13 over to 21, actually to 1721. The detour that is involved will be, people will go north on 13, across 174, and back down 1721 by the golf course. That will be the detour. The closure is due to a large culvert that goes under 166 that is failing. It is right near the far east entrance of Deer Creek. We're gonna put a large, same size culvert back, 72-inch concrete culvert back instead of a metal one, and we're also gonna flow fill it. The reason I bring up the flow fill around the pipe is because we were gonna flow fill, or Schmidt was gonna flow fill on Sunday. They're having trouble obtaining flow fill on a Sunday. So they might not be able to obtain flow fill till Monday morning, which would then not allow that road to open on Monday as well either. But there will be updates with that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully they were able to obtain, or gonna be able to obtain flow fill. That project is going very well. Really pleased with it so far. It'll be similar to what 166 looks like from 13 to Elbert now, with a 2-foot paved out shoulders on both sides and things of that nature. The other project I wanted to mention was the road is closed currently at the town of Elbert. Elbert Road is closed. It's closed just south of the gas station. Road and Bridge in-house is doing a large culvert replacement right there. The detour is very short. It's just 2 blocks to the west, up through the school, by the school, and then back down by the bar. We should have that road back open today. We'll put back in place roto millings, asphalt millings on top of the culvert for now, and then tomorrow dig those back out and pave back. But tomorrow, when we pave back, we will keep 1 lane open at a time. So that should be a good deal. With that culvert was set, it was either set too low, or as the flooding issues have progressed over the years, it has created the outflow and inflow to be too high. So we needed to do a little bit of ditching and a little bit of shoulder work there, then raise that culvert just a little bit. There was a 5-foot round culvert in there. We're going back with a 5-foot squashed culvert, which is basically an oval culvert, so that you don't have those flow issues on the inlet and outlet side. So that is kind of in conjunction with the whole Elbert drainage project that the engineers are currently working on Main Street, that we all met on down there just north of the bar, and should have that back soon and get that work going pretty quick too.
Great.
The other thing is, I know we've had a lot of rain, so, which is great for the county, but it's been tough on the roads, and so I appreciate again the public's patience with us during that process. We've been very busy with abnormal maintenance associated with the rain, so just a very busy summer. You guys have any questions?
No, just to say thank you. Your department always does really good and does above and beyond in service to the community. Appreciate the updates on the reports. Could you also give us an update on the County Road 125, the 9 miles, similar, depending on where you're at, what road that is?
Yeah.
I've driven the part that has been done so far, and it's excellent. And just a quick update on that, and tell those guys great job out there.
Yeah, you bet. So yeah, County Road 125 runs from the part we're working on runs from the town of Simla up to Highway 86. the first mile is already paved. The other 8 miles of that road is a gravel road. We're rebuilding it. It is actually the highest traffic road east of Comanche Creek. So we're in process of rebuilding that road in-house, sloping the shoulders out to make them a little more safe. The first 3 miles is completed. We've done a lot of culvert replacement on that road because those culverts were 40, 50 years old. So a lot of them were very rotten. We've replaced a bunch of them. Yeah, the first 3 miles is done. We're doing the road topping of the asphalt gravel mix, which sits down really nice and makes a really smooth, nice travel surface. We're also building out that road spec-wise to, in the future, if we so choose or elect to. I got a lot of other roads to pave, so I don't really see this happening anytime soon, but it could easily just be capped off with a 2 to 4 inch lift and then shouldered out with a whole, very little subgrade shoulder work done, because that's what we're doing currently. That'll make that road much safer to travel. The shoulders were very steep in the past. At the culverts, a lot of them were almost a vertical drop, so if you went off the road, you were going for a ride. So we're creating a lot of safety situations there that are going to be much better for the traveling public. And hopefully we can get the road done. We got 8 miles. We've completed 3, so we got 5 to go, and we're already at the end of July. So if we don't quite make it, we'll pick a very good stopping point, let winter happen, pick back up again in the spring.
Very good. I appreciate that.
More questions?
No questions. Good job, Monty. Appreciate
Thank
you.
I just want to repeat what I've said many times. You and your staff get out here in the middle of the night. You're on call 24/7. You back up the fire departments, law enforcement. You guys do a great job, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Any other department heads here would like to give a report? All right, any staff reports? All right, seeing none, we will move on. Next section of this agenda is for public comment. This portion of the agenda is reserved for citizens who wish to comment to the BOCC on items of the county or that are of county interest that are not scheduled for discussion or action. Do we have anybody who would like to make any public comments at this time?
Good morning, Commissioners. Don Gray, 16,000 Highway 86. I'm on the board of Elbert County Alliance, as you all know. I'd just like to give you a little update on the Excel project as it's moving forward. On July 2nd, you presented 2 resolutions that denied applications to Excel. Since that time, at that time, there was 13 filings against citizens for eminent domain. Since that date, there's 3 additional filings on eminent domain and immediate possession. Now, what that tells me is Excel hasn't slowed down. You might have told them that you weren't going to approve it, but it hasn't slowed down the legal process as they're moving forward. Basically, I'm just giving you that update that they took what you said on July 2nd and basically ignored it, and they're still moving forward against the citizens with eminent domain. That's where we stand with that, and I just wanted to give you an update on that, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for that update. Any other public comments? I thought I saw another hand back there in the back. Hi.
Hi there. My name is Sherry Pies, and I stood before the commissioners about a year ago applying to bring my business to Elbert County. And we moved here, and I love it. I'm so grateful to be here. But I emailed you 3 last month regarding a situation that occurred along my property, a spraying of herbicide, pesticide, something of that nature. And I really wanted to come and put my face before you because I didn't get a response from anybody. I got a response from your staff, and it was, what we're spraying is safe, and that's just what's going to happen. We're going to spray. And I want to say that that spray did not just stay on the right-of-way. It went into my property. I live there, my family lives there, my animals, I have cats, dogs, I have chickens, and everything is affected by these chemicals that, you know, it's a commercial version of Roundup or whatever it is. And I don't feel it's safe, and I should have the ability to say, please don't spray my property, even if it's spraying on the right-of-way. They're using a truck that is high-powered, and it is spraying a fine mist. It is contaminating my property, and I do not want this. I should be able to opt out, and so should anybody else that wants to do this. Now, I heard the terms mandated by the state, noxious weeds, and I'm familiar with those terms. However, you know, this is where I rely on you as a body, and residents rely on you as a body to advocate on our behalf. Because it's infringing, and I had the pleasure, I showed up to the last meeting when public invited to be heard was on the schedule, and I missed it by a few minutes because I was late. But I did have the great opportunity to listen to Commissioner Schroeder's speech about property rights. And he really advocated for PUDs in this county. And I'd really like to see you advocate for my rights in this county where this is concerned. And this is an infringement on my property. This is a taking, exactly how you stated in your comments. And so what I'd like to see you do is advocate on my behalf. I'll get more involved too if you need me to, but you know, you guys are the governing body. I see what's going on now with Excel coming through and trying to use eminent domain with the huge power lines. And that brings up another point with the PUDs. I mean, we're looking at growth all around Elbert County, Douglas County, Arapahoe, everywhere there's such sprawl. And whether we have water in our aquifers or not, look at the impact. Look at the impact of what bringing energy into this area so people can have electricity with all of this sprawl. They're needing to put this huge, huge equipment in now. It's totally infringing on the residents. So, I mean, I was very lucky to hear about the comprehensive plan because I'll make sure I talk to my neighbors about it. This is very important. It's not only important to look at what is going on within this county, but the surrounding counties because they affect us. I love Elbert County. Like I said, I'm grateful to be here. I love, you know, driving in and seeing the sign, Right to Farm. You know, for me, there's an element of freedom and patriotism here that resonates very much with what my family feels. And I just felt it was very important to step up here and tell you what I'm feeling because my rights were infringed upon with this spraying of herbicide. You know, if there's a noxious weed, have somebody, that right-of-way is not huge for my little cul-de-sac. I mean, it's a lot of work for somebody to get off and spray by hand. But if you're targeting only specific plants, a broad spraying is just a contaminant to everybody and to everything. And, you know, I'm here to say I did not consent. There was no transparency. Nobody was informed that this was going to happen. And I'm tired of the state and the government and everybody else that come in and find these little ways of maneuvering around that transparency. And that's exactly what they're doing with this as well. So because there's no notification when people get sick, there's nobody they can tell they got sick because they don't know what caused it. Most people I talked to didn't know the spraying was occurring. I still don't know what was sprayed. I was hoping that your staff would have given me that information, and I was not provided that information. I really just want to see transparency. I want to have a right to say no where my property is concerned. And
Commissioners, that's 5 minutes.
I'll wrap up.
Wrap it up.
I appreciate everything that you do. I appreciate everything that this staff does. I know the work that goes into what goes on in the county, and it's always a thankless job. And so I'm not here to put anybody down or anything like that. I'm just asking for help because I do not want this.
Noted. Thank you for your comments. Any other public comments today?
I actually would like to make a comment in regards to what you said about not responding, and it may change the way my policy in responding to citizens. Sometimes if I get an email from someone, I may or may not be a subject expert in whatever that discussion is about, and I'll refer it to staff and say, hey, can you contact this individual for us? So it doesn't necessarily mean we ignored it. It means we instructed staff to reach out to someone. So maybe I need to send an email saying, hey, I've got your email. I'll instruct staff to reach out to you and just let people know instead of just moving forward. But we have a lot of emails a lot of times, and we have a lot of studying to do and different meetings that we're in. So in a way to expedite that, that's what I'll do sometimes. But based on your comment, I may shoot a short email going forward just saying, hey, I've got your email. I'll have staff reach out to you. Something like that maybe might be better. So I appreciate that comment.
I appreciate that. This is your one chance to connect with your constituency on a one-on-one basis. I'm familiar. I sat on city council in North Glen for 10 years. So I'm familiar with the process, and it's easy to defer it to staff because they do have the knowledge, and I understand that. But connect, because it's very important, please.
Right. Thank you.
And very much appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
Still morning? Good morning. My name is Stephen Tivey. I live at 35867 Darting Bird Ride in Elizabeth. I've done some research over the last couple of years relative to the Titan site in Elizabeth. And the research that I've done, including talking to the EPA, says that there is no particular problem with that site. It was not put on a Superfund.
Can I interrupt you just a minute?
Yes.
I cannot hear you for this thing going crazy up here. Let me Sound like a jet engine getting ready to go. Turned it off. Let's see what happens. Sorry, I just could not hear exactly what you were saying. So go ahead, sir. Please continue.
All right. So the research was done on that property. Given that there is no federal or state prohibition against using that property, it occurs to me that it might make a very good place to put a vegetation, tree, trash site, much like Douglas County does on a very tiny little piece of property. And I'm not suggesting that we staff it continuously, but with 4 hours on a Saturday or something like that, so that people can get rid of all their thousands of bags of whatever, not leaving the bags, okay, and then it could be processed if you wanted to on an occasional basis, chipped or whatever. Just my idea. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? All right, sir, come on.
Good morning. My name is Wes Harris. I have some property right on Elbert Road, just a little bit south of 86. We're building a barn, and we're going to build 2 houses on 35 acres up there. And I've run into a little bit of a problem with an apparent unregulated utility called CORE. They have a website that you can access and get an estimate about what it'll cost to install electricity. Unfortunately, when you talk to them, the prices go all over the map. I don't know what your involvement is, if you have contact with them, or if there is someone within the county that we can work with to work with CORE, but it's kind of a difficult situation, and the prices run from anywhere from $100,000 to 13,000 to 18,000. It's just depending on the day and when and who you talk to. So that's my my situation, and I'd appreciate any help the county can give us.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your comments. We'll make sure your name and information's on that list up there, if you will.
Okay.
Not sure who we would need to put you in contact with, but we'll look into that.
I would like to talk to you after the meeting if you're still around. I had a similar situation with CORE, and I maybe have a few tips for you. This is probably a couple years ago now, but I'll be happy to talk to you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Or just give me a call, either one, if you don't want to stay for the whole meeting.
Thank you.
Sean, can you get a hold of Maddie and see if they can come up here and unplug this thing and turn the power off? It's driving me nuts. Thank you. All right, any other public comments? All right, seeing none, we will close the public comment section. Next item on the agenda are discussion items. And the first item on the agenda is the Board and Commission's Code of Conduct. And basically, I started that with the appointed boards that we have, and we started looking at reviewing our policies for the county, something we've recently started here. And we determined that we need to have a standardized code of conduct for our appointed boards. And so that's where this was originated from. And Lance, I don't know if you have any additional you want to add to that.
Not really. I drafted this and requested the board to kind of try and establish those established and consistent standards. I don't think the board got a significant chance to review it, so I would certainly understand if you want to take more time. But this was my best stab at what were reasonable across the board expectations for your appointees to the variety of boards and commissions that you staff.
Okay, thank you. And I know Commissioner Schroeder, you had maybe some questions.
Yeah, I just had a question/comment on it. I think it's good as into form as what we expect from our boards, but I don't see, and maybe I missed it, what sanctions are available. I know there's some statutory authority we have to remove board members, but I would like to see consequences of violating this policy within this policy, within that the boards are signing, so they're agreeing to it as they sign. And so what levels, what steps take place if there is a violation? Is it automatic removal, or are there steps that are involved? There's a warning. I don't know exactly how that works, but I think we need to have something in there that acknowledges to them that there is consequences if they violate.
May result in removal from appointed positions. I say may because that allows you to take such lesser action as you deem appropriate. I would not suggest that you create a specific series of steps, because I think that's going to handcuff you as the Board of County Commissioners if you think significant action has taken place and removal is the appropriate next step, even if you haven't taken other steps previously. So I would suggest you add that statement to the end of this code, make it permissive for the commissioners to remove an appointee, but not mandatory.
Anything else, Commissioner Schroeder? All right, Commissioner Buck, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I agree with that. I would also like to add some language. I've read it. I agree with the code of conduct, but I would like to add some language to page 3 after the word process in the third paragraph from the bottom. It starts with all deliberations and ends with public process. I would like to add language that says This prohibits the sharing of opinion or deliberating in digital, traditional, or social media or other means of communication outside of the official public process of planning commission deliberation. I can give you that language, but I would just wanted to get that out there that I would like to add that, and I think it's a valuable piece to this code of conduct.
I do think that clarifies what this statement means, and if that's what the board wants, not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Is there any other comments or questions by the board? Okay, all right, so is there any public discussion regarding this policy? Okay. Is there any motions here to move this to action items or just place it on action items next meeting? How do you want to go?
Go ahead, Dallas.
I would like to see it, the changes in writing, if we do it by the end of the day or next meeting. I do think there's value in having it out before the public longer than 2 or 3 days for evaluation, but I'll follow the lead of the board.
I think I would agree with that. I think we need to see a clean copy, and then we bring it back for the next board meeting. If you gentlemen are in agreement with that,
I agree.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. Next item on the agenda is a finance policy. But before we get into that, is Maddie on the way for this? Because this is really distracting everybody. Would the board be objective if we could recess for about 10 minutes? And is that okay with you gentlemen? Can we recess?
Yeah, it's fine.
We're going to recess for about, let's just say we'll come back in here at 10:25 unless we got these guys tearing this thing out of the wall. Thank you. We're recessed. All right, we'll call this meeting back to order, and Maddie's still here, but thanks to him and everybody who helped turn that stupid thing off. With that being said, our next item on the agenda is a finance policy, and I'll turn this over to Commissioner Schroeder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And the finance policy is my example on this, but it's more of a discussion on policy. We have several policies adopted by the County Board of Commissioners that help to govern how we conduct business and also then how we expect our fellow electeds and other departments to conduct business. And if former Commissioner Richardson was here, he would be laughing right now that I am advocating for clear policy. When I was clerk and recorder, I gave him all kinds of fits about policy. But since I've been sitting in this chair, I've come to realize the importance of policy, clear policy, and how it helps to govern the county. Policies that are put in place that are well thought out create for stable procedures. And so it's a stability factor for the county, for that everything is there's a consistency that's involved when we have a policy in place, that each department, each elected office is treated the same, has the same level of expectations, and it just creates those clear expectations. And so I advocate, I have become a fan of policies, and I think it's important also for, as the board, to set the example of following the policies. It takes our self-control and restraint in doing that, but I think it sets the example for the rest of the departments and electeds that we are going to follow what we expect them to do as well. And so from time to time, we need to evaluate our policies and see if they're meeting our needs, if things have changed. And so I'm just going to point out a couple things within the finance policy that I hope in the near future we can either clarify further or make adjustments as necessary. In 2.5B, it says it's the responsibility of the director, elected official, or duly authorized county representative to ensure that all purchases are within their department's adopted budget limit. And that goes back to the process we have in creating a budget, and that we expect everybody to follow through with that. It certainly makes our finance department's life a lot easier. And that's not to say that when emergencies come up that this board can't make changes or do things that need to happen. But it certainly is beneficial if we follow through on following the budget. Section 3 on purchasing methods, purchasing thresholds. This is one that probably we need to look at as far as numbers. We all know that expenses have gone up, and we have signature authority guidelines for various department heads and electeds. The signature authority guidelines, purchasing thresholds without other approval, directors, elected officials or county representatives up to 10,000, director of public works up to 50,000, director of information technology up to 50,000, facilities manager up to 10, and county manager up to 300,000. So I think in the future we need to evaluate those numbers and see if those numbers still make sense.
Hey, Dallas, sorry to interrupt you. What section and page was that?
3.1, number 11, page 11.
Thank you.
It also has in there bidding thresholds, which I agree with, that we need to make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck for the citizens' money. But we need to evaluate if these numbers are still reasonable or not as well. It currently says buyer's best judgment up to 5,000. If it's 5,000 to 25,000, an informal bidding threshold, which is requesting 2 written or oral quotes. I think anything between 25,000 and 100,000 is a formal, which requires requesting here 3 written quotes to get the best value. And we have that conversation with Monty and different ones. Best value is not always the cheapest, but it's the best value. But 3 written quotes from that. And then anything that's over $100,000 goes through a formal bidding process, which is very transparent as far as I'm concerned. Lastly, 6.2, contract execution. Paragraph A, number 1 on page 33, specifically referring to the chair of the BOCC. The chair with BOCC approval has the authority to sign all county contracts and is the only position who may execute a grant contract, an IGA contract over 300,000, non-budgeted contracts over 10,000, and contract change orders in excess of 15% over the original contracted amount. And I think we need to get that clarified so that we understand the chair with BOCC approval has the authority to sign these if there's any concern or question on that. To me, that means that with BOCC approval, it also goes before the public, either as a ratification, if it was a contract that needed to be signed in an emergency situation, or it goes before a regular BOCC meeting for approval on that. But those are just a couple of examples, but I'm glad to hear that we are going to start looking at our policies and updating them. It's just a good way to govern. What happens, and it's very similar to a COOP plan, a continuing operations plan for emergency management. We have that in place that if certain buildings go down, if certain things happen, that we don't have to try and figure things out on the fly. We can go to that plan and look through it and say, this is what we're doing, because sometimes in the heat of the moment, it's hard to, to make good decisions. And so that's why if we go through the policies and thoughtfully and deliberately looking at them when we're not dealing with an issue, we end up with a much better policy. And so I'm advocating and glad to hear that we're going to start doing that. So those are just comments that I had.
Thank you, Commissioner Schroeder, and honestly, I could not agree more. I think you're right on target, and I'm going to be working with the county manager. We're going to start putting these things together, and we'll get it to you guys. And we're probably going to need to schedule some work sessions so we can all review it together. But as the policies are written now, they were good at the time they were written, but in some cases they're very vague, and we need to get some clarity on that. So that's my comments regarding Commissioner Buck.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with the other commissioners. In reading the policy, I have a copy of it right here. I think Commissioner Schroeder's right. Some instances, they're a little vague. I think we need to flesh out some of the language a little bit, and I'm on board with the other two commissioners. I think it's a great idea.
All right, thank you. Next item up for discussion is the consideration of request of Town of Kiowa to share the cost of updating a Kiowa Water and Wastewater Authority water plan. And Lance, would you mind? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just a quick point of
order,
I guess, on that last topic. Since we are going through the budget process, I guess this would be the best time to also address those updates. So I want to make sure the board is good with us suggesting some updates to that policy as we look at how it is written now and how it's actually being utilized.
Good point, sir. You got any questions?
I agree, but I maybe it's something we discussed about doing a work session on, and then enough time in advance that everybody has time to go through it with a fine-tooth comb and see what changes there are. We need to update it to where we're at today. So I'd be fully in favor of that.
Commissioner Bullock, any comment?
That makes sense. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. It's just like I said, as you remind me every day practically that the wheels of government turn slow. I'm not used to that. I'm like a train coming through here, and I get in too big a hurry sometimes. So thank you for that, and I think we can slow down a little bit and get this right. Thank you very much. All right, so back to item number 3, consideration of request of the Town of Kiowa to share the cost of updating a Kiowa Water and Wastewater Authority water plan. And Lance, I'll kick it off with you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in a meeting with the town officials, the mayor and their city manager, and you, Mr. Chair, a request was made verbally for the county to share in the cost of updating the water plan. And the rationale for that request at the time was that the water plan updates are really necessary because of the bulk water provision to the fairgrounds and public works and those facilities. And but for that need, they would not need to update the water plan. And so the request was that the county share 50% of the cost, which was at the time represented to be about $5,000. So the letter that's in your packet is at our request to support their request. That is why this is in front of you. I don't think I have more information than that I can add.
All right, thank you. Mr. Buck, you have any comments on this, sir?
Well, I have the letter in front of me. It does state that the WWE understands the main goal of the update is to address service to the county facilities at the edge of Kiowa. So they're saying it is in relation to some of our demand. I know they have, inadequate water supply, infrastructure. I know they're trying to plan for the future, and this is part of that process, I believe. So I'm in support of it. And with no objection, I would like to move it to an action item, if at all possible.
Need to give Commissioner Schroeder an opportunity here, sir.
Well, I understand their problem, but I have a problem with an audacious ask when we have done many things for the town of Kiowa and the water board, and all we have had from them is turmoil coming back our direction. We had, when we built the Public Works facility, we were required to put in a T on the north side of 86 that was for future growth, expansion, fire, whatever the reasoning was through there. That had nothing to do with our Public Works facility, but yet that was a requirement that was placed on us, and it cost us a tune of $15,000. We've seen the town, in my opinion, get outside their lanes in several areas in regard to the county, and I have a report that even last night they're still throwing us under the bus for their imposing a moratorium. And so I have a real concern that it continue to just be an ask from the county, and we throw them under the bus whenever we get a chance. So it's frustrating to me.
Understood. Monty, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you want to make any comments regarding the bulk water or the situation?
So it has been somewhat problematic for us this year. Through the process of building the new building, we used to load bulk water for roads and for fires and all that kind of thing. We have a 5,500 gallon truck, a 6,500 gallon truck, and an 8,000 gallon tanker truck for water. It's pretty crucial in road construction operations, and especially it really does help the fire departments because their tender trucks only average about 3,000 gallons, and that doesn't really last very long. So having our big trucks on site is a big bonus. We can load now directly into a fire helicopter for fire mitigation, things like that. They came to us several months back. It was sometime in 2024, and locked us out of our bulk system. They put padlocks in our building on that system. They did give me a key so that, if they then told me that I was only restricted to loading bulk water if it was in an emergency situation such as a fire. But this summer, as I stated earlier when I was up here, we do have several road construction projects going on, and then our vac truck is the most expensive piece of equipment that the county has ever purchased for road and bridge, and that thing is crucial in cleaning out culverts, potholing for utilities to keep our people safe, and every time we use it, there's 1,100 gallons of water runs through that. So bulk water is critical for us. It was never discussed that we wouldn't be allowed. I mean, the town knew the whole time that we were putting this separate bulk water system on the east end of the building, and it was never discussed that we were going to be restricted in any way. The deal was, as Commissioner Schroeder stated, that we foot the bill to install this T for future stuff for either the fire department or if there was development somewhere else on that north side. We did that to the tune of $15,000, as he stated. So yeah, I don't mind working with the town. I work with the town all the time. I put up message boards for their events. I do as much as I can for the town, but this has been very, very frustrating. And so I would like to be able to, we pay the town or the water board a bulk rate. It is metered at our building separately, so there's no confusion there. So I would like to not be restricted in what I'm doing up there, if at all possible, or however this needs to play out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a comment here that one of my campaign commitments and promises was that I would work closely or the best I could to bring the county and the towns within the county back into a better working relationship with each other. And in saying that, I have met directly with the mayor of the town of Kiowa, and we have talked about this bulk water. And in my opinion, we are talking about things that have happened in the past. We want to move forward, extending an olive branch. This is a new board here. They've got new members on their board. The mayor is fully committed to working with the county. And as I've said, you've heard me say before, it's never the wrong time to do the right thing, and I think it's the right thing to do. With that being said, I just do believe that we're moving in the positive direction with the town of Kiowa. So that's my comments. Any other questions or comments?
I actually had the same comments. I'm not familiar with some of the issues that have happened over the years in the past relationship. I'm just not. But I am in agreement that this could potentially be part of a fresh start in that relationship, and that this could go a long way in doing that. And we can kind of talk, and Monty, you can get back up here and speak. What happens if we don't approve it? What happens if their water system, has issues going forward? Because I know they want to start planning for the future, and they have a lot of meetings set up about town planning and water planning and all these things. I think this is going towards some of that. And, I mean, what are some of the scenarios? If we approve it, what do you envision? And what if we turn it down, what do you envision?
Yeah, I mean, if it's turned down, if they continue to lock us out of bulk water, we are really going to be forced into drilling a commercial well up there, which is going to be very expensive. We had discussed doing that when we were planning that building and putting that out, and in, you know, discussion with the water board in the town of Kiowa, you know, us being allowed to have bulk water up there, we decided not to drill the commercial well because we didn't think we were going to be restricted. So I don't know how much it impacts their flow or anything like that. I mean, I'm all the engineers that were behind building that building, the water board in the town received all that information. So I would think that at that time, they would have said, oh, this is a red flag if Road and Bridge is going to be using this much bulk water. And I mean, I've been here 15 years. We've loaded bulk water for as long as I've worked here. We usually used to load off the hydrant at the fairgrounds. So there's been a track record of exactly how many gallons we've used on an average in Road and Bridge. I don't have those numbers, but I'm sure the town does, and I'm sure our past records, we could figure it out. But I don't know specifically how it would impact their flows or their things if they didn't restrict us. We're not going to use an abnormal amount, no more than we have in the past, although it seems like Road and Bridge does just get busier and busier. So to answer that question, I can't. That'd be a town question. I just want to say I do have a good working relationship with Kim at the town manager. I'd like to keep that in place. You know, I don't think there's been any kind of, that I know of, any kind of strife or butting heads with the town, Road and Bridge in the town. It's always been a well-working relationship. I was explained that the locks that were put on our facility, on our bulk system, were from the water board, not necessarily the town. How that all works on their side, I'm not sure. But like I said, I'd like to keep good working relationships in place. I'd like to not be restricted up there because it's crucial, and how it affects Maddie at the fairgrounds, I'm not quite sure. But if we could move forward with something beneficial mutually, I think it'd be a good thing.
Thank you, sir. All right,
So,
Schroeder, sir.
are they willing to allow us to continue to lease property or new properties in the town?
I think that's a separate issue. Lance?
Not to my knowledge, not at this time. Separate from this ask, there was a request that we have an IGA that explains, and this will come to the board at some point presumably, that explains that we have agreed to, after the end of this lease, not necessarily rent any more space on the downtown Main Strip area where they really want commercial uses. So separate from this request, they would like us to have an agreement that essentially says at the end of the term of that lease that we would leave that space and leave that space available for commercial as well as other commercial space, but not necessarily related to this request.
Okay, well, that's a recent example of where we're at. It's so frustrating. This town would be in serious trouble if this wasn't the county seat, and all the people coming here to do various things, and for them just to keep asking and restricting is not playing nice. So I'm very frustrated about this.
Right. Are there any public comments? All right, seeing none, is there? Yes, sir. You have to come up. Give your name, address.
Jim Marshall, Spring Valley Ranch. Money wasn't able to give you quantities, but does he have to get the bulk water from the town? We're talking, is this raw water, Monty?
I don't necessarily have to, but like I said, I would have to drill a commercial well. Our other option is go down to Elbert. we can get bulk water, they're double the price that Kiowa is basically.
What do you pay for it?
Right now, we're paying $10 a thousand.
All right, just curious.
All right, thank you. And we're talking $5,000 here. We're not talking $50,000 or $500,000. So, all right, is there, at the pleasure of the board here, does anybody want to move this from discussion to an action item?
I'd like to make a comment first.
Okay.
I agree with Commissioner Schroeder that this is frustrating. I also agree that this is a separate issue from any rental property or anything to do with a business strategy or an economic strategy that the town has. I do think that's a separate issue. And I do think that they, are just trying to move forward and become economically viable, and they would struggle if Kiowa wasn't the county seat, and I think they're struggling a little bit even having Kiowa as the county seat, and I think they're doing what they need to do. And I think we should move discussion item number 3. I would like to make a motion to move it to an action item.
So there's a motion. Is there a second? And I'll second the motion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. Next item under the discussion item is the revision of resolution amending resolution 2018-48 to add additional stabilization funds for emergency purposes. Sean?
Yes, we've been reviewing the stabilization funds for emergency purposes, and I have spoken with you all individually. I think we're at a point where, as we look at the unassigned amounts in the general fund, this is a great opportunity, since we're going through the budget process, to strengthen the emergency funds. The amount that I've been recommending is around $2.5 million added to that. I know right now we were looking at over $3 million, close to $4 million in one and $500,000 in the other, but really this is a great opportunity for us to prepare for those rainy days. We learned already from past incidents like the flood we just had, and some of our infrastructure is still being repaired on that. This is a great opportunity for us to secure more money for emergency purposes in the future. That's all I have to add on that.
All right, thank you. So any questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Schroeder?
I think it's a good idea to keep socking away money as we can. My only question, it says that to the stabilization funds line item. As I understand it, we have a contingency fund, but also a stabilization fund. Is this strictly going to the stabilization fund, or is it being split between the two?
So right now our attorney's working on the resolution. We have to give public notice on this also, but probably $500,000 to the fund that has the $500,000 in it right now, and the other one that has close to 3.8, adding $2 million to that. So once he has a chance to actually draft those resolutions, I think it'd be more clear.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Buck?
No questions at this time. Thanks.
Just a comment. Good job, Sean. Thank you. All right. Is there any, obviously we don't want to move this to an action item since you're going to be giving us a resolution, so we'll leave that as is for now. All right, next item is the action items. Is there a motion to consider approving items 1 through 5?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes as presented, dispense with the reading from the dates of June 24th, June 25th, July 2nd, July 9th, July 15th, all in 2025.
Second.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item is number 6 It is a 6-month report, January 2025 to June 2025. It looks like it's on.
Is the light's on? Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Sherry Hewlett, County Treasurer and Public Trustee. Nothing, this is actually your report that I provide to you, and needs to be published in the paper. So we do this twice a year. It clearly states the financial activity in each of the funds. And currently, I believe we're doing very well. So this is just a report that needs to be published by the board. So requires action on your part.
All right, thank you for the explanation. Yeah, I've got it here. Thank you very much. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 6-month treasurer report from January 2025 to June 2025.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item is the BOCC budget goals for 2026.
Yes, Commissioner. Again, we're doing budget planning and preparation right now. This is a document every year. Staff comes to the board and requests thoughts on budget goals for the next year. Currently, a lot of these goals remain the same. Obviously, we look at the assumptions in the document. Medical benefit costs are always going to go up. Insurance costs are always going to go up. Workers' compensation insurance costs will always increase. We also assume there will be a increase in the population we are serving. And we just had a work study session not too long ago with the startup for the 23rd district attorney expenditures. They will also be coming to the planning process in the future with their ask for those costs and services as well for the community. We do have some interesting, I guess I would say, changes as we look at planning for a new building for the sheriff's office, but also looking at the needs of the coroner's office and the needs of OEM. We've also, the board has also mentioned in their thoughts on this, how do we continue to maintain the unassigned balance, and what is the best use for that? You know, obviously when we look historically, we see the 2023 audited unassigned amount, it was $9,677,000 roughly that was unassigned by the board. And right now we're currently going through another audit, and preliminarily it's looking like that fund has grown and may even be over 12 million. But we also have to understand the needs of the county and some of the promises made by the board, such as the tax relief will have to be looked at as well again. We did $1 million in tax relief and $1 million in one-time costs, which were also associated with the fund balance. So really the opportunity now is that the board review this budget goal that they have given us and make sure that it is comprehensive and including all your concerns so that we can communicate to staff moving forward as they plan their budgets for each department and office, so the board can have meetings later with these departments and elected offices specifically to designate and make determinations as what is the best way to spend the county's money moving forward. So that's where we're at. That's what this document is addressing.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments from the board? Commissioner Schroeder?
No, I think this is a great tool moving forward. We've been doing it for several years, but we've not done so well at number 5 on policy changes and making new policies. We've updated policies but not made new ones, and Some of these were policies I suggested even back when I was clerk that we're still not quite got to. So I would hope that we can make an effort and cross off some of these over the next few months, at least get a working document going. I'm not sure what the best way to proceed with that, who comes up with a rough draft on some of these. I know everybody's really busy, but I would certainly be happy to be part of a group that started working with establishing some of these policies.
Commissioner Buck, any comments, sir?
Just one comment, and I read through it, Sean, and I don't recall if the project out in Elbert with some of the drainage issues we're having out there, was that part of the report that you put together there?
I think that would be something, if you're wanting that added to the goals of the county as a whole, just communicate that, and we'll add it. Obviously, we have to keep in mind what exactly is left in the budget, and you all will collectively have to make decisions as to what to do with some of that fund balance. So if that's something you want added, we can add that.
Okay, thanks. That's all I had.
All right. Is there any public comments regarding this before we take this to a vote? Any public comments? All right, seeing none, is there a motion on the table?
Mr. Chair, I move we accept the Elbert County Government Commissioners 2026 budget goals as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is consideration adoption of the CORA policy, Colorado Open Records Act. That's what CORA stands for. And Lance, we'll turn it to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the first things I was given when I started to serve as your county attorney was a CORA policy that had been reviewed by one or more citizens, and they had some comments and some concerns, legal in nature, but also practical in nature. So when I started to look at the policy, while I didn't necessarily agree with some of those legal concerns, I did think the policy could be simplified, and it could read more simply, and it could be implemented more simply. So what I did was I kind of started over, and I prepared a new CORA policy for board consideration. I've been working with the county manager on that, and I think we're on the same page that this is a little simpler and a little bit easier to understand. I'll stand behind all the statements in that policy that they do comply with current statute, and really the basic setup of the policy as it's currently drafted is Sean would be the primary custodian for the county. Each elected official would also be a custodian of records for their respective offices if they've elected to be included by this or covered by this policy. But otherwise, it's just a legally compliant policy that is hopefully simplified and easy enough to follow. So that's what I've proposed for board consideration, and I'm certainly here for any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Schroeder?
So we moved this right to action. Generally is for things that need to be addressed immediately without having the 2-week period for the document to be out to be observed by the citizens. Does this rise to that level in your opinion?
It's hard for me to answer that. I considered it non-controversial, so I didn't see a reason for a delay, although I'm still learning your processes, so I might have just missed a step. Do I think this is incredibly time sensitive? I don't, but the complaints from your citizens have been out there for a while, and it just took a little while to bring this in front of you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Buck?
No comments at this time in regards to the policy. Now, whether we move it forward today or whether we reschedule it, if you believe it's non-controversial and it's appropriate to be an action item today, I say we should move it forward today. But if that's your opinion, Lance.
I don't know if it's my opinion so much as my best guess. I have noticed that Elbert County citizens are involved, and would it surprise me if they had comments on this before and after it's adopted? I suspect at some point they will, but I don't think anything in the actual policy that I've proposed is particularly controversial. I think it follows the statute. I think it does so fairly rigidly. It should be subject to acceptance that it accomplishes that, and that was one of the concerns before. So I can't tell you no one's going to complain or suggest that it could have been different. I just don't think at the end of the day there's any reason to change anything from a statutory standpoint.
Okay.
So let me just recap here. So you took our policy, you reworked it to make sure it was within the statutory limits, and you streamlined it and made it easier for the citizens, or it will be easier for those making requests. Is that right?
I believe so, although the process of making a request hasn't changed all that much. The process the county has in place is there is a form that the county uses. You can submit that form however you choose to, but we do still require the same form. Everything would then come to the county manager, and he can then delegate to make sure it's being responded to. But simplicity was intended to get everything in the same place so that one person was working on it. The idea is to get the records out as quickly as possible. I know before that every single records request was coming through the attorney's office, and for me that didn't make sense because all that's going to do is delay people getting the records that they want, because in most cases records are not in need of legal review or redaction or anything like that. They can just be provided. So to have the attorney's office be kind of a stopper to progress didn't make sense to me. So it's more simplified than it was before, but the process could look similar from the outside. You still start with the county's form, you still submit that. Now it will be processed differently and we believe more streamlined, but otherwise it might look the same to a resident.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there a opinion or a motion either way here?
I'll just make another comment that it seems that we have to update this annually anyway because of the way the legislature works. It seems like they're always changing things in here. So it's going to be evaluated in the future. So it's on action. I have no problem with us adopting it. So I will move that we adopt the new CORA policy, resolution 25 TBD, and that deals with our CORA policy.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item up, item 9, is consideration of a resolution to create a ballot question to extend the number of terms for the sheriff and the coroner's office.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have prepared for you a resolution. This resolution actually creates 2 ballot questions. The title on your agenda says a ballot question. But what it does is it bifurcates and creates 2 questions, one for the office of the sheriff and one for the office of the coroner. But otherwise it follows a form you've seen before because it follows a form the county has used before. It gives voters the discretion and the decision at an election to determine whether they want to allow those 2 offices to run for a 3rd consecutive term. That is an exception that's allowed in the Colorado Constitution, but when the county last ran a similar issue for other elected offices, these 2 offices were not included.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Schroeder, any questions or comments, sir?
Yes, I made my opinion pretty clear last time on this, so I won't repeat that. My new question has to do with the resolution. Most of the whereases have to do with the last year's items that were put on, or item, it was one question at that time, on the ballot, and saying that was a grievous offense to exclude 2 officials, but there were also 3 other officials that were excluded from that. And if we're going to follow the spirit of the reasoning for putting on the sheriff and the coroner, I think we need to explore the option of also putting the commissioners on, with the caveat that it applies to any future commissioners, nobody that sits on this board currently. But if we're saying that the citizens need to have the option to extend term limits for all county offices, some have been passed, some are going to be proposed, I think we need to have a discussion on whether we have the option for the citizens to extend on commissioner as well.
All right, Commissioner Buck.
I also made my feelings and thoughts known in the last meeting, and I won't repeat that as well. I think the commissioner topic is new today. I don't think we try to include any language at this time for the commissioners to run for a third term. I think that can be something that we discuss and dive into at a later date, obviously. And today I would just like to, move forward with the resolution that's being presented.
Right. My comments to this is while I hear both of you, I think the commissioner topic is a separate issue that needs to be dealt with separately down the road. I think we should stay focused right now on the sheriff and the coroner's office, and that's what this resolution was written for. So, with that, is there a motion by either of you?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution and the ballot language as written, allowing the sheriff and the coroner to run for a third term.
And to be specific, Lance, should we include that these will be two separate questions on the ballot? Do we need to have that language in this motion?
I think the resolution makes that clear. The version that's in front of you has two ballot questions on it, one for each office. I do need to add an S to the resolution because at the in the title it says ballot question. It is plural. In the body of the resolution, that's clear. So as long as you approve it, allowing me to add an S before you execute it, it should be fine.
All right, sir. So do you want to address that? Do you want to amend your motion to that?
No, I think he clarified that the S is just a formality, or I guess we could make a new motion if you want a new motion.
Just amend your motion to include the S.
Okay, I'd like to amend my motion to include the S. I'm sorry.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? I'll second the motion. All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item number 10, and this is where we just moved the discussion item on the town of Kiowa to action item for the town of Kiowa's water plan in the amount of $5,000, contributing $5,000 to the total cost of that. Is there a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the request by the town of Kiowa to share in the cost of updating a Kiowa Water and Wastewater Authority plan.
Is there a second? Hearing none, I'll second. All in favor, sign of aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Nay.
All right. Next item is the executive session. Lance?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am proposing an executive session pursuant to 24-64024B for legal advice related to various different things that kind of intertwine, that being the legal process of the comprehensive master plan, a potential strategic pause, and related regulatory issues. The executive session, if called, would be limited to legal advice. You would not be able to make any decisions, but I do think that is an appropriate thing to do.
All right, is there a motion to go into executive session?
Yes, I'll make a motion that we go into executive session at this time.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We're now in executive session. Thank you. All right, folks, it's 11:53 a.m. and we're coming back out of executive session. And Lance, I'll let you do your thing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the record, we did have an executive session under 24-64024B for legal advice. It was a discussion about the inner workings of the comp plan, which is moving forward with the Planning Commission, a potential strategic pause, and regulations related to both of those and how they interact. No decisions were made. Present in that meeting were the county manager, county commissioners, myself, and our, what is your office planning? Community Development Services Director, Jennifer Jones. So there was no recording of the executive session because it was limited to legal advice. With that, we are back in your regular meeting, and you may proceed with the agenda.
All right, thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is board planning, which the agenda items for next meeting, and so far we've got code of conduct policy and the core policy that we would like to add to the next agenda. Commissioners, do you have anything else you want to add?
Didn't you pass the Cora policy?
No.
Okay.
No.
The fee changes for Board of Health also.
Okay. Thank you for reminding us. Commissioner Schroeder, anything else you can think of, sir? Commissioner Buck?
What about the stabilization fund? That was a discussion item. Do we want to move that to board planning for the next meeting?
Yes, you can add that too.
Okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
Now, Commissioners, my notes may be wrong, but my notes are that you approved the Cora policy today, but you absolutely delayed the code of conduct. Is that not your intent?
I think you are. I guess we're getting old up here or something. I don't know. But yeah.
That's what I'm doing
Well,
over here.
together we'll get through it, right? Okay, you're right. Got that. All right, with that being said, workshops and study sessions, there's some that we've talked about, but we don't have any firm dates yet. So we'll leave that until we can get some additional information. Pending hearings, does anybody know of any pending hearings? Oh, sir? Okay, all right. All right, with that said, conclude this portion of today's meeting, and with a motion, we will recess until 1 p.m. for land use hearings. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we don't need a motion to recess.
We don't need a motion to recess? All right.
Chair can declare.
Under Robert's rules, procedural issues don't require a motion if the board is empowered to make those, or if the chair is empowered to make those decisions.
Thank you.
So things like a recess or jumping from one item to another, you don't need a motion. It's not harmful, but you don't need one.
All right, thank you. So, all right, with that said, it's 11:57, and we're in recess to 1 o'clock. Thanks.